What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Cypress Inheritance, the beginning. Or at least I'm going to attempt to, for reasons which will become readily apparent in the near future. Cypress Inheritance, the beginning, is a kind of first-person survival game, which seems not entirely dissimilar to kind of your DayZ and Rust kind of things, but with more of a focus on the plot, which those games kind of, they're more focused on sort of just to stay alive as long as possible, whereas this game it actually has an objective. You are on an island, being hunted down by a team of AI humanoid robots, and for reasons that I have not bothered to delve into particularly closely. There is a whole plot, so there seems to be a whole franchise behind this. This game is made by a company called Cypress Inheritance. The entire company seems to be based around the franchise, quite frankly. There's a series of visual novels out there as well. So yeah, you're on this island, and your job is to stay alive for 72 hours whilst tracking down clues to your family's inheritance and legacy and your grandfather's work. So we're going to the options menu before we start, because it's kind of lacking. We have full screen resolution, which I've often said is the bare minimum a game should have, but quite frankly those are much simpler games than this. This is fairly detailed, it's 3D first person world, you know. We would like a little bit more than that. We've got dynamic shadows, ambient occlusion, and shadow resolution are all we have available to us. And I have not really noticed any of them make much of a difference. I've turned stuff off and down, but it's not done much for me. I would really like more than that. I mean, it's a first-person game, so a field of view slider is fairly crucial. Beyond that, this game badly, and I mean badly, needs some various level of detail and texture resolution options. You need to be able to make this game run better than it does, because it doesn't run very well. Now, we've got sound options. We've got a bunch of different sliders. That's probably one of the few bits of the game that are done well. At least we can change the sound effects, ambient, voice, and music all on separate sliders. We've got brightness. I've turned up a little bit from the default because, well, it's a pretty dark game and you can see almost nothing, quite frankly. I'm going to start a new game because I've kind of gotten myself captured by the evil robots quite quickly in my existing game. So we start off with this little hand-drawn beard, a bit about, so she's been adopted, she wants to find out more about her family. Once we get through to this, we'll get into a sort of a exposition bit. The game seems to pride itself quite a lot on the fact that it doesn't have a tutorial, but at the same time tries to push you to find out as much about the game as you can before you actually get into it. If you go onto the Steam store page, there's written in all caps everywhere that you need to read the manual very thoroughly and check out gameplay videos on YouTube before you buy this. So here we are, here's a gameplay video, you can check it out. First things first, walking is not fun in this game. It's got a very dramatic view bob and you move at a glacial pace. It just feels clunky. The game visually, some of the stuff in this game visually looks quite nice, to be fair. Looking out of the ocean, that looks pretty cool. Some of the floors here look okay, but other areas of the game, once we get out of this tutorial section, these walls look pretty nice. These wooden paneling, it's all quite nice. But once we get into the game proper, you'll see a lot of stuff that doesn't look anywhere near as good. It's really all over the place with the quality of this game. Some of it, they've clearly spent a lot of time and detail modelling things perfectly in really high detail and putting a high resolution texture on, and then other bits just feel really slapdash. So I'm going to skip this because it goes on for a little while, and then we've got another bit which we're on the docks, which doesn't look quite as nice as the last bit, and now we've got to hobble our way slowly down to the end of the dock and get onto a boat to get across the island. Which is, again, this takes a while, just in terms of walking to it, just because it takes so long to get there. So we're going to skip that as well. And then we get a little bit where there's the evil lady, woman, AI, she's in charge of the evil army of robots. These guys are about to go out and try and hunt me down for reasons which I'm sure would become clear if I'd spent more time reading up on the extensive backstory and canon of the universe. But I have not done. Because, quite frankly, I don't feel much inclined to do so when the game plays like a slideshow. Like this! Currently getting somewhere between 2 and 4 frames per second. As we get close to the island, it picks up to about 8 or 9, which is smoother than 4. At least there's that to be said for it. So here we are. We are now here on the island. got this boat, which kind of looks nice in some respects. And then in a moment, we'll get a nice good look at the inside of it. And oh dear, look at that texture. Oh my word. The bag that she picks up looks great. The boat that she picks it up out of looks awful. It's so erratic, the quality of things in this game. The floor here does not look quite so great. And then we get big yellow screens of text that cover up everything, and they pop up at fairly random intervals as we wander around this area. And I've had several of them pop up on multiple occasions if you walk back and forth. There we go. There. I don't know how I brought that up. There's a key that brings up your UI, and as you walk back and forth, they pop up again and again, and it really doesn't care if you've read it. It'll just throw it up again and again and again in your face. And that's kind of annoying. So with our 9 frames per second, we can pick up some of the starting equipment. Not that I'm likely to get much use out of it, because we're not going to get very far, because I can't see anything. So let's take a stun gun, and take the medikit. I've got a nice little ATV here. ATV, that looks pretty good. I like this ATV. They've done a lot of... It's clearly something the player uses a lot, so they've put a lot of care and attention into actually making it look great. But then the floor is like, oh, well, this player's going to be out of this area in no time at all, so let's not bother with it, it feels like. And more tutorial again. These gas canisters, they don't look bad. They look alright. And then everything else in the areas looks less okay. I don't know what's up with it. Can I do anything with this? Just out of curiosity, can I blow up a propane can? No, I can't. Disappointed. What can I say? So, why is it running at 8 frames per second? This is the principal question here, and I'm not sure why. I can't possibly say. I mean, looking at the trailer, I looked at this game. It seemed like an interesting concept. It looked quite cool. I thought I'd give it a chance, and because it's not cutting edge. It doesn't look like Titanfall. Let's be honest. I thought it looked like it's something I would be able to handle, and there are no games within the last 2 years since I built my PC that my PC has not been able to handle to some reasonably competent degree. There's nothing that I haven't got a smooth frame rate at the very least out of. Might not always run at 60, but it usually runs, you know, above 30 at the very least, even in the worst bits. This game, for some reason, in spite of it looking like it's about 5 years old, has taxed my computer beyond all recognition. And if you go and check the Steam page, yeah, my bad, I done goofed. I didn't check the minimum spec. Minimum spec is NVIDIA GeForce GT 560 or AMD Radeon HD 6750. I am running the GeForce GTX 550 Ti, which I guess makes it a smidgen below minimum specification. So perhaps you can then... Why is this tree spazzing out like it is? I don't know. How strange. You could quite easily come to me and say, your computer's below minimum specification. Of course it's going to run like crap. And that would be fair. That's totally fair. What isn't fair is, why does a game that looks like this need such a high spec to begin with? There are games out there, many games, which look fantastic, that don't need anywhere near the specification this game does. It also needs 4 GB of RAM, which I know most computers probably do have that as a minimum these days, but at the same time, that's still an inordinate amount for a game like this. It shouldn't need the resources that it's asking for. It's basically, all I can say is it's pure laziness on the part of the developer to do absolutely zero optimization whatsoever. So I'm going to take one of our ATVs and let's go for a ride. Why not? See, ATV looks great, and there's quite often these interactions just straight up won't work. I mean, quite often I'll go find an object like you saw there, and try and interact with it, and she'll reach out and touch it, and nothing happens. Nothing at all will happen. So there's one of the big bad robots up ahead, I know, because I've been here twice before, and got captured by it twice before, and I hit a tree, and now the world is ruined. I can't... Is there any way to flip that up? Maybe? Can I turn it over? Come on. Flip it up. Go Master Chief on it. Turn it over. Okay, now you start it up by getting onto it and then immediately get thrown off again. It's not I can't get onto it, it's upside down. It's nothing else. It's literally just... Oh, at least I can sprint here, which I couldn't do in the house before. It literally just gets you on the machine and throws you off in the same instant. It's just laziness. It just feels like they've cut corners at every opportunity. And there's no regard to keeping any kind of consistency with the texture resolutions and levels of detail. Some of the trees look great. Those genuinely look downright cylindrical. Quite often you get trees and you're like, oh, look at them, it's clearly a hexagon. Well, you know what, the hexagons, they have less polygons and they're damn side easier to render. I mean, sure, they look great, but it's killing my computer, and I won't be the only one. I'm not the only one. Look on YouTube. I mean, like I say, they recommend you should do that. Go, look on YouTube. Anybody who's covered this game will tell you the same thing. This game runs like crap. It's really not... It's not on. It's pure laziness on the part of the developer to not bother putting any kind of scaling in. Either keep it consistent and reasonable, or add some options to tune it down. If I'm running, you know, 2 SLI Titans or something, maybe I can run it on full spec, but some people might only have a 550 Ti that might want to turn it down a bit so that they can run your game. But they haven't done that, because that's extra work. It's also worth noting the game's not even complete. This is Cypress Inheritance at the beginning. There are 2 more episodes to come. This game is not marketed as an early access title. No, this is being sold as a full title. But you're only getting 1/3 of the game. There are two more chunks of the game to come. I mean, they're being pitched as free DLC or expansions later down the line. One to come out in May, and one to come out around August, I think. Don't quote me on that. Check the page. But nonetheless, you're only getting part of the game here. There are 2 more parts to come later down the line. And yet they're asking right now full price for it, which is currently on Steam £22.99, or your regional equivalent. 30% off in launch week brings it down to £16.09, but that's still quite a lot to ask for a game for which the majority of the content isn't complete, and for which there has been absolutely zero effort made on the optimization front. So even if the game's concept is good, and I quite like the idea of it, I genuinely can't run it, so I can't play it, and I can't show you whether it's any good or not. And if I can't run it, I would wager that there's a considerable majority of people out there also who won't be able to run it. I mean, check the tree clipping through its own branch. I mean, you could justify the frame rate if it genuinely looked magnificent, but frankly it doesn't. It looks alright at best. There's absolutely no way to justify a game that looks like this and runs like this at the same time. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't recommend Cypress Inheritance at the beginning. So, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.